Money race, 500 bucks with this CBR1000. You see this? It smells like race gas. Got the aerodynamic plate on the wheel. Money race, 500 bucks with this CBR1000. You see this is an HP?
Look at this guy.
SP? What does that stand for?
I don't know.
You don't know?
George Cross. Is that George Cross's old truck?
It smells like race gas. Got the aerodynamic plate on the wheel, whatever that's called. Stressed. I think it'd be a good run. Yeah. Strapped down. Does it come up on you? It shouldn't, right? Wheelie control, all that good stuff.
No, the wheelie control goes off, but at 80 miles an hour, I don't.
Okay. So you'll be what, second gear, right?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, that's too much for first.
Yeah.
He got the strap on the front too.
Yeah.
Playing tonight.
Yeah, you gotta get him because if not.
Yeah. So what's the consensus here? You seen the bike?
Same story.
Yeah.
If he starts in third, it's a good race. If he starts
could
in
tell.
second, he's got to manage it.
I don't have to shift to fourth. I could just tell while I'm still in third how it's gonna go. So yeah.
He's starting in third. So Jesus Christ! Why is he the big? He's a big.
Get the fuck out of my way!
All right, so got the CBR1000 SP going against the Vet.
Oh yeah, and it's.
Yeah, so simple setup, just head scan, ProCharger. See how this goes. What is going on? Gozy here and welcome back to the channel. Alright, if you haven't seen the last video, please go watch it. Raced a 2000 horsepower GTR. He said it was on map 5, roughly 1650. Who knows? Alright, never trust those GTR guys, but I got called out and the stipulation was he puts 5 cars on me or he pays me $1,000. Alright, so we had a little bit of difference in opinions, but we reached an agreement. He did pay up, all right, so y'all could let him live, all right, because I know the comment section was on his ass. All right, so he paid up, he made good on his word. Definitely a cool dude, not too many fast guys out here, so for the for the ones that are up running and are serious about their cars, is definitely a plus to be in good relations, I would say. You never know who you might need someday. All right, fast forward. So today we're in the garage. As you can see, I got my bummy shirt on because I'm about to do some bummy stuff. All right, I wanted to have the Vet just sit, throw that on the back burner so I could focus on the Silverado. All right, bought the car, bought the truck with some oil consumption issues, and done the compression test, done the leak down, passed with flying colors, did the valve seals, but it's still burning oil. And then come to find out, doing the leak down test does not really pinpoint oil consumption because the compression ring might be good, but then if the oil ring is worn out, you're gonna have oil burn issues. So did the valve seal, so I took that out of the equation. As far as the valve covers, it's an aftermarket valve cover, it doesn't have a baffle. I'm still gonna proceed with the plan of leaving the block on the truck. I'm gonna pop the heads off, pop the oil pan off, undo the connecting rod bolts from the bottom, and then just pop that piston out of the top And so once I get that out, measure the pistons, get those rings on order, and try to have this truck running within the next week or two. Fast forward, so we're in the garage and I'm having to work on the vet like I would rather not be. And that's because, so after the run with the GTR, we ended up spraying coolant on the windshield, so pushing water out, and that is a road that I've been down once many times. And to me, that tells me, okay, lifted the heads. And you guys know that we went with the Mast Motorsports 6-bolt heads because we were having issues lifting the heads, went through like several head gaskets. And I was hoping that that would be a thing of the past, but to this day, it's still haunting us. And what I'm thinking is, right, I did reuse the ARP2000 head studs between the last setup and this one. So that could be our issue for one. Two, we could have to upgrade to the CA625 ARP head studs. They're the newer, revised studs with higher tensile strength, all that good jazz. Or three, we just might need to do half-inch studs on this car because, I don't know, I'm just not keeping this heads down. Especially so, when I ran the GTR, we were averaging about 27 pounds of boost. And when I was looking at the videos, right, so it made that peak boost at right around 6,600 RPM. And then any more RPM after that, the boost wasn't really climbing. So I knew that I had some kind of belt slip. Since then, I have added a little bit more tension to the belt. Did a test hit the other day, and it made 29.6 pounds of boost. So almost 30 pounds of boost, which is no joke on a 441, right? I saw a post on their Instagram. I don't see if I could find it, but there's another vet out there. It is an old post, and the guy made 16 and some change on the same boost pressure with a 10.5 compression, which is roughly what we're running as well. But his was on a built 427. This is a 441. So, I mean, it kind of gives me a ballpark of what this car could be making. He was on a triple nozzle meth. I'm on a dual nozzle. Pump E, he made 15. So I want to say at that boost pressure, the car has to be making somewhere in the 14s, but obviously let me not strip from the hip. So with that being said, having problems keeping this heads down. So I'm going to be checking in with y'all. I'm going to get to work. Stay tuned. Recap, started pushing water out after running that GTR. Retorqued the heads, hoping it would make a difference. It did not. Ran a bike a couple weeks later, and after the run, the car shut off on me. I had to tow it back home. Ran some diagnostics, and I saw that the valves weren't sealing. And then, as you can see from the prior clip, poured some brake cleaner in the intake runner. Apply some shop air, and it was just pissing out the intake, past the intake valve. So I already spoke to Mast, and I got a RMA number, so I'm getting ready to ship the sets back to them. Then more than likely they're gonna end up replacing the intake valves and then remachining the valve seats, and hopefully they get it to seal again. It shouldn't have to take off too much material because, I mean, just looking at it, just eyeballing it, you would think that these are like, you know, good to go and don't have any issues, but obviously it failed the test. Two-lip the valves. So yeah, two-lip the valves. Matt said it should be about a 2-week turnaround, so hopefully they get in by mid next month. So yeah, we'll see. Let me go turn these suckers in and keep on pushing. At least this will give me some time to knock out what I need to knock out on the truck as well, and hopefully I get them both running pretty much, you know, simultaneously at the same time. And I think this is the first time that that the setup pushed water out without any obvious indication as to where the head gasket was compromised. Like, just looking at it, I don't know, I even looked at the gasket and it's just not obvious. So I mean, I don't know, I'll probably take a closer look sometime within the next couple of days and see if I can figure anything out. But the new setup is going to be pretty much same heads, same block. I'm going to have Mast machine the heads, make sure that they're perfectly flat. I did order a what do you call it? Brave fart here. A straight edge along with a feeler gauge, and I'm gonna just ensure that the deck on the block itself is also completely flat. But the plan is, so when I send the motor out to get refreshed, hopefully, you know, a year, maybe 2 years from now, if this holds up, get them to resurface the deck and drill the block for some 1/2-inch studs. So I think for this setup that the weak point was the reused ARP studs. I lost count, but I'm pretty sure I had torqued these studs like 4 different times. So yeah, so these studs have been torqued to me one too many times. I'm not even sure what they're rated for as far as reusing them. So gonna run the ARP 625 studs with the higher tensile strength, and hopefully that'll hold us off until we take this block out to get refreshed. I took a pause from cleaning the deck surface on the block. I left the studs in, that way minimum amount of debris gets in the threads. I'm going to be pulling that out. Took a pause from that, and I went ahead and I pulled the heads of the truck. All right, and hot afternoon, and the only thing better than pulling sets of head on one car is pulling 2 sets of heads. So these are the heads from the truck. And so the original plan was, right, replace the valve seals, and it was still burning oil. So I figured, okay, I guess the only thing left would be piston rings, because I went through the crankcase venting, replaced the valve covers, redid the oil cash can setup on it, still burning. So I figured it'd be the piston rings. Took the intake off, and yet again, pool of oil sitting on top of the valves. So I started thinking, what if my issue is not the piston rings, it's not the valve seals, but rather the valve guides themselves? I don't know if you guys can see that, but even just like looking at this valve right here, right, it just caked on there, right? It just caked on there, and it just looks absolutely terrible. And it just looks absolutely terrible. Same thing on the head over here, right? So it just caked on there. And like the pistons themselves don't even look that bad. I went ahead and I cleaned the number 7-cylinder off just so I could see what the piston says on them. And I don't know if you guys can see that, but Summit Racing Pro LS or LS Pro, whatever, made in the USA. All right, so for something that was burning, I mean, I took it to work one time, 20 miles away, and it literally went through 5 quarts of oil, right? So something that's burning that much oil, like the piston surface, I feel it doesn't look as bad as you would think. But so right now, here's the plan, right? The heads from the vet already shipped it off back to Mast. They're gonna replace the intake valves, remachine the valve seats, and send that back. Should be about a week, 2 weeks turnaround. So the plan for the truck is, right, I had spare sets of LS7 heads. So I'm gonna try to put like a ruler on it, try to get some kind of straight edge. I did order one, but it's not here yet. But I want to mount it on just for troubleshooting purposes and see if it still burns oil, because I think it might be the valve guides on these set of heads. And you know, I'm just looking through it, and I don't even know who makes these heads, right? There's literally no etching on it, right? So I wouldn't be surprised if it is the valve guides, because I mean, no name brand, you know, 6-bolt heads. It just, I don't know, not a good combination. Not a good combination. So I'm actually going to start prepping the spare LS7 heads that I had in the shed. Prep that. I'm going to throw it on the truck. And I'm guessing, because these heads definitely look a lot taller, it's going to require shorter push rods. So I'm going to obviously measure it first to see what it's needing. I'm going to leave whatever lifters are on it for now. Remeasure the push rods, and if I don't have something in-house, I'm gonna just order one, and then when that comes in, you know, just give it a shot. And then if it's still burning, then obviously it's not the top end, and then I'm gonna go ahead and tear it down and swap out those piston rings along with the oil ring as well. All right, so stick around. I'm gonna keep cleaning the pistons, set it to top dead center, probably cylinder 1 or whatever, and then I'm gonna use that to measure the push rods once I have the heads slapped on. It is now day 3 messing with this truck, and it could be less hotter. All right, so LQ4 bottom end, Summit Racing 402 stroker motor, and we went ahead and we took off the no name brand 6-bolt heads that the truck came with, and I mounted my spare LS7 heads that were lifted on the vet. All right, so I used a small ruler as a makeshift straight edge, and with the filler gauge as well, and I didn't really see any low spots. So what I did was some experimental shit. I would not recommend. This is just to see if everything works out. So funny thing is, right, I actually reused the 6-bolt head gasket off the vet. I took it off and it didn't really have any obvious wear on it as far as like where the head was lifting at. So what I did was I cleaned it up. It wasn't missing any material, surprisingly. Did a copper coating on it. You could even see the tabs from where the extra studs would go. Like I said, this is gonna be experimental. I don't care if it overheats, if it fucking puke its guts out as far as like spraying coolant or whatever. Only thing I wanna see is that it's not blowing oil, because my hypothesis is that it is the valve guides on this cheap, no-name brand, fucking off-the-wall ass heads that the truck came with. Yes, it is. That the truck came with. All right, so if it doesn't hold the coolant, if it doesn't hold any coolant pressure and it's leaking out the heads or anywhere else, look, I am fine tearing this down. Again, I just want to know that I don't have to go into the block and start messing with the piston rings if those are still good. Like I said, did the compression test, did the leak down, and it passed. So I don't know. At least this will take the equation out if it's the heads or not. If it still smokes, then we'll know that it's not the top end and it's definitely the oil ring in the block, and then I'll be happy to tear that down. So it's been somewhat not straightforward as I thought it was gonna be. When I mounted the LS7 heads, I kind of got a feeling that the Holley high ram that the truck came with these heads was not gonna fit. But just to be sure, I tried it. The bolt holes don't line up, so I grabbed a spare intake from the shed and had some clearance issues. All right, so it was not going to clear the power steering / alternator bracket right here, along with the water pump. So decided to throw the Holley high ram from the vet, being as though it's a LSX block with LS7 style heads. Throw the Holley high ram from the vet, since that's down anyway. Throw it in the truck and I'll see what happens. So swapped out the fuel rail for what came with the truck along with the throttle body, and now I'm getting ready to throw that in. Plugged up the vacuum hose because the truck utilizes a manual brakes, because I cannot find, for one, the hose that goes to the brake booster. I didn't want to spend too much time looking for that, so I just figured it was a manual brake system on this truck. I'm going to throw that on along with the alternator and the intake hose, and pretty much button up the rest of the wiring, injectors, coil packs, and top off the coolant, and it should be good to start. All right, let's see what happens. Let me know what you guys think. I think it's gonna work. I think it's gonna work, but hey, we're about to find out real soon. It smells good. I don't see no smoke. I want to give it a good rev. So we just got off the highway, and usually I would see like a cloud of smoke behind me. So, I mean, I don't want to jinx it, but I think we're good. I think we're good. I don't think it's too early to call it. It feels good, sounds good. Now I just need to just work the AC in here because it has no AC. Hot. Probably put about 30 miles on the truck since the head swap. Pulled the plugs and they are still getting fouled, just not as bad as before. So what I'm thinking is, right, from the valve guides leaking oil into the cylinder, that might have washed the cylinder walls out. I kind of felt them when I pulled the heads out, and they were a lot smooth. So the excess oil in the cylinders might have washed out the rings, and I think I might still need to go ahead and pull those pistons out and refresh the rings. So I might still have to pull those pistons out and swap the piston rings and the oil ring from the oil washing on the cylinders. You know, like I said, when I had the heads off, I did kind of feel the cylinder walls, and they were very smooth, not any noticeable cross hatching going on. As you can see, yeah, we did throw the LS7 style Holley high ram on the setup just for shits and giggles to see if it would run right. So I mean, right now I'm kind of at a crossroads, because I do still believe that the heads were part of the problem. So I'm probably gonna end up ordering another high ram for this truck, at least have that on standby, and then wait for the parts for the vet to get here. Straight edge along with the filler gauge did come in. All right, Summit Racing Special straight edge here has a rubber boot to protect the surface. So I'm probably gonna end up giving it another good clean, pull those studs out, and I believe the idea is to just place it down and then just slowly work my way down as I'm putting the filler gauge in, like in certain spots, to see if there's any low points, any part of the block surface that's like missing material or like gouged or whatever. And hopefully everything checks out. So when the heads come back from mast, throw the gaskets on, obviously torque those down, and yeah, I'm probably gonna end up pulling some power out of the tune. I mean, I feel like, you know, that's the one disadvantage of being your own tuner is, you know, if you want all the spice, you know, you can add all the spice in yourself, and you know, when you start lifting heads and doing all the crazy stuff, then you have no one to blame but yourself. So probably gonna take some power out of the tune, which will obviously help the car hook a lot better as well. Once I have it all assembled, I'll probably throw it on the dyno, add a little bit of spice back on the tune just to see what it makes, and after that just, you know, water it back down, and you know, just right around, you know, with that. It shouldn't be too much out here that can keep up anyway, even with power put out of it. We'll see. Hopefully we can get second gear to hook, but right now the plan is still to order a Holley Dominator for the vet and see what that does for us. Hopefully I could pull out enough timing based on the miles per hour. I don't know if the Holley Dominator is gonna know what gear I'm in. Hopefully be able to pull out timing at a certain miles per hour. I think for me, second gear tops at right around, I want to say maybe anywhere from 96 to 100 miles per hour. It could be more than that. So anything below that will probably have it at like 10, 11 degrees, and then obviously past that I'll be in third gear and probably put 15, 16, maybe 17. So we'll see. We'll see. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and give the truck a start. Did make some changes on the coolant temperature where the fan kicks on, but I mean, it's still running way cooler than my vet does. I don't know, which is to be expected, you know, in a truck. Not too much crazy shit going on under there. And there you have it. So the truck still needs a little bit more love and attention. Gotta fix this slouching front bumper on both sides. I ended up removing the oil catch can system, so now I just have it venting to atmosphere. That's still pretty experimental. It's not dripping any oil from either vent, so probably gonna leave it alone for now. Still having this oil pan leak, so I'm gonna swap out the gasket on the oil pan when I pull that down to get to the piston rings. What else? And then right now I pretty much have it. It's not open headers, but pretty much. So headers on both sides merges into one over there. All right, and the plan is to probably bring it out further and then have it like a side exit going out right there in front of the rear wheel. So a couple more stuff that I definitely want to do. Appreciate y'all for tuning in, as always, for keeping track of what we got going on here in the garage. I posted a picture I think a few weeks back. I do got a baby on the way, and thank you for all the congratulations. Appreciate y'all, appreciate the support. Hopefully it's a boy, because I could definitely use a spare set of hands here in the garage. I want a boy, she wants a girl, and so far we're only trying for one, so we'll see how it goes. I feel one shouldn't be too bad. No, I'm not selling the car, but obviously I have to change the spending habits, right? Try to accommodate the projects and the fun with family, but it's kind of what I signed up for. So yeah, so keep track. Hopefully the next video I should be installing parts on the vet. Max gave me about a 2-week turnaround, and hopefully when those parts come in, we'll be able to go back out there and have a little bit more fun before things really start to ramp up. A lot of moving parts around planning for the baby shower, as well as prepping for my deployment. A lot of y'all know that I am in the military. I don't talk much about it because I don't want to mix the two. So I try to keep my work life away from my what I do on my own time. All right, so got a deployment coming up towards the end of this year. So there is going to be a time gap where I'm probably not going to be posting much for about 8 months, maybe a year. But I'm thinking maybe I'll post some clips from some of the ports that we are going to hit, England, Bahrain, places in the Middle East. I'm going to try to, like I said, separate my work life from my personal life. I'm not going to be showing you guys, like the jets and the bombs being dropped or anything crazy like that. Thank you for tuning in, and if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button. Yes, you. I'm looking at you. Go ahead and hit that button. You want to, Mr. Always tuning into the channel to watch the videos but still hasn't subscribed. All right, hit that button. All right, like, share, subscribe, and I will be seeing y'all on the next upload.